by lawyers for actor Justin Baldoni showed unedited footage from the filming of
One thing you should know about me is I will admit and apologize when I fail.
My nose is so big.
I was hoping that we could address this. It's not too late.
Justin, maybe you need to stop talking about my wife's weight.
What is your problem, Ryan?
My money is on Blake Lively being wrong.
I felt good in the moment, and for her to use this vulnerable moment against me.
You literally know nothing about women.
God.
What we've uncovered is going to blow your mind. For the first time ever, we have access to secret text messages and voice memos that weren't even part of the lawsuit filings. These reveals expose shocking new details about the real dynamic between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, and trust me, it's wilder than anyone imagined. But that's not all. We've also obtained exclusive behind-the-scenes footage from the movie set, where Blake's behavior directly contradicts the claims she's making in her legal complaint. And here's the real kicker. This evidence isn't just for show, it's being held back, ready to be unleashed when the trial begins. So yeah, Blake Lively might just be turning into Amber Heard 2.0. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just wait until you see what's coming next.
Time progressed in this film. She decided that she wanted to be a producer. She started to make edits. She wanted to be part of the editing team. There were people hired, like human beings actually hired to do the editing job, who had done work as editors.
If you thought this drama couldn't get any juicier, just wait. Because Blake Lively didn't just rely on legal tactics, she called in reinforcements. Her strategy? Leverage her superstar connections, aka Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds, to put massive pressure on Justin Baldoni and Sony Pictures. She basically issued an ultimatum. Give me this film, or lose access to my fanbase forever. And we're not talking about a few followers. We're talking about millions of diehard fans and the influence of her A-list friends. But here's the kicker. Her plan completely backfired.
Is just not making any sense. After working for this film for almost 2 years, together collaborating, text messages, voice memos, getting along, joking, we never had an issue before the break. And then after the break, suddenly there's this weird thing going on with all these demands. I met them at their place, and Ryan blows up on me. And then Taylor's looking at me like I'm some criminal.
And trust me, I've got all the details on how things took a very unexpected turn for Blake. Yep, that was Justin Baldoni, basically defending himself against the chaos Blake created. And trust me, y'all better grab some popcorn, because this story, it's far from over. First things first, this whole harassment drama just isn't adding up. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni spent nearly 2 years working side by side on this film, collaborating, laughing, and getting along without a single issue. Then, out of nowhere, after a brief break, everything flipped upside down. Suddenly, Blake starts making demand after demand. Ryan Reynolds explodes on Justin, and Taylor Swift gives him a look like he just committed the ultimate crime. But here's where things really don't add up. Even after all that chaos, Justin insists that they kept things professional. They spent countless hours in the editing room together, discussing scenes, going over details, and Blake was actively involved in shaping the film. Then, one single no changed everything. Justin didn't even shut her down completely. All he said was that she needed to wait until he had a proper cut before she could give her feedback. And somehow, that was the moment everything exploded. But that was all it took. One moment of hesitation, and suddenly, Justin was locked out of his own film. Sony handed full control over to Blake, and before he knew it, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift were front and center, promoting the movie like it had been Blake's project from the very beginning. Meanwhile, the one person who spent 5 years fighting to bring this movie to life, Justin Baldoni, he was completely sidelined, reduced to a mere spectator at what should have been his career-defining premiere. And let's not forget Colleen Hoover, the author who started it all. She was the one who handpicked Justin for this project. They had been friends, she had helped with the script, and even stood beside him promoting the movie, long after the alleged harassment took place. But the moment Blake's lawsuit dropped, Colleen switched sides without hesitation. She took to Instagram, publicly declaring her support for Blake, leaving Justin completely blindsided. So, what really went down here? Was this orchestrated from the very beginning, or did Blake just flip the script the moment things didn't go her way? If you've been following this messy saga, you'd know that Justin Baldoni spent countless interviews praising Blake, calling her brilliant, talented, and deeply involved in the film's creative process. He credited her for enhancing the film, especially in shaping the intimate scenes, and even said she had a clear vision for how they should look on screen. But after she shut him out, took full control, and re-edited everything, Blake never once publicly acknowledged Justin's contributions. She never thanked him or credited him for his years of work, despite private text messages proving she once saw him in a completely different light. In those messages, Blake thanked him, called him talented, and expressed gratitude for his collaboration. And just when you thought this scandal couldn't get any worse, Blake made a shocking claim, accusing Justin Baldoni of inappropriate behavior during their intimate scenes. But hold on a second. Let's rewind and take a closer look at the actual footage. The very scene Blake described in her lawsuit, where she claimed the incident took place. When the lawsuit first surfaced, nobody really knew what had gone down behind the scenes. All we had was Blake's word against Justin's. No context, no proof, just her accusation. That is, until Justin's legal team fought back, leaking the unedited video. And that's when everything changed, because as you can clearly see, Blake wasn't just acting in these intimate scenes, she was actively directing them.
I feel so nosy.
I know. And my nose is so big.
Yes. I was hoping that we could address this. It's not too late. Just gotta shut down. We gotta call an insurance month and just deal with that.
Yeah.
And then,
In fact, there were moments where she even took on the role of an intimacy coordinator, making key decisions about how certain moments should play out on screen. And yet, her lawsuit paints a completely different picture, accusing Justin of crossing the line, improvising, and kissing her too much. But now, with the unedited footage in the open, the question remains: who's really telling the truth? But here's the real twist. Before the production break, there were only 2 kissing scenes in the entire film. That's it. No extra off-the-cuff moments, no unplanned physicality, just 2 scripted scenes that were already agreed upon. Then, after the break, everything suddenly changed. Blake came back with a long list of new demands, and, strangely enough, refused to meet with the actual intimacy coordinator before filming resumed, which makes her allegations even more suspicious. It was almost as if she was rewriting history, creating a narrative that would push Justin out of the picture entirely. But this isn't just about Blake. There's another key player in all of this: Colleen Hoover. Yes, the same Colleen Hoover who had once praised Justin's script, calling it perfect. Yet, the moment Blake took control, Colleen switched sides, helping Blake re-edit the movie, cutting Justin out entirely, and erasing his influence from the final version. And now, let's talk about Taylor Swift's unexpected role in all of this. When it came time to cast the actress for young Lily, it was Justin Baldoni who found her, saw her potential, and pushed for her to get the role. But guess who actually made the final decision? Not Justin. It was Blake and Taylor. Even the actress herself later admitted that Taylor Swift gave the final stamp of approval, securing the role for someone she personally approved of. And despite Justin being the one who originally discovered her, his name was never once mentioned in any casting interviews. It was as if he had been completely erased from his own project. Every credit, every decision, every public mention, it all led back to Blake and Taylor, as if Justin never had a hand in it at all. Blake and her inner circle have been throwing shade at Justin for a while now, subtly trolling him in ways that most people wouldn't even notice. But when you start putting the pieces together, it all starts to make sense. So let's take it all the way back to the beginning and break down what really happened behind the scenes. Because once you see the full picture, you'll realize this drama runs way deeper than anyone ever expected. As it turns out, Ryan Reynolds wasn't just watching from the sidelines, he was directly involved in the script, tweaking scenes alongside Blake. And when one of the cast members was asked about it, they confirmed that Ryan had written multiple scenes and made significant changes, something that almost no other actor would ever be allowed to do. But because Blake was in the mix, everything changed. From the very beginning, Blake and Ryan were constantly rewriting lines, altering the script daily, and causing tension behind the scenes. And Blake? She knew exactly how to play Justin. She showered him with praise, telling him he was one of the best directors she had ever worked with, building him up while secretly maneuvering behind the scenes. Blake claimed that other directors had always shut her down, never allowing her to contribute creatively. And Justin? He didn't want to be like the others. trying to be fair, he gave her a real chance, allowing her to rewrite an important rooftop scene.
Mostly to Blake for his response to her creative changes to the film's pivotal rooftop scene.
Will you please get down from there?
I'm good, thanks.
Up.
But Blake didn't just make changes, she made sure to hype them up. She casually mentioned that both Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift loved her version, saying they couldn't wait to see Justin's reaction. And it didn't stop there. Blake then invited Justin to her penthouse, where Ryan and Taylor were waiting, hyping up her writing, convincing him that her changes had to stay in the film. And Justin? He fell for it. Afterward, he texted Blake, praising her talent, telling her he genuinely liked what she had done. He even reassured her that he'd try to incorporate her ideas into the final cut. But in one of their messages, Blake took things a step further, comparing herself to Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, making it clear that she had powerful allies on her side. And who were her dragons? Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift. Blake wasn't just name-dropping for fun. She was making it crystal clear that she had serious influence in both the movie and music industries. And she wasn't done yet. Blake didn't just want to tweak a scene here and there, she wanted control over the entire script. Justin, trying to keep the peace, let her make daily changes, hoping it would keep things smooth and prevent unnecessary conflict. But as time went on, the rewrites became constant, and Blake began questioning every single decision Justin made as a director. It wasn't just about small script adjustments anymore, she was challenging his entire creative vision.
Do with, the brilliance of Blake Lively. I don't think people realize how involved she was in this movie. She was extremely involved, and she really made the film better. And especially when it came to intimacy and all of that, like, she had a very clear vision.
And even before filming officially began, another issue suddenly surfaced. Allegedly, Justin had made a comment about Blake's weight, which she later twisted into accusations of fat shaming, and that was just the beginning of the storm. In reality, Justin's comment had nothing to do with body shaming. He had simply asked Blake's trainer about her weight, because there was a scene where he needed to lift her. Given his existing back problems, he just wanted to make sure it was safe for both of them. But that private conversation didn't stay private for long. Blake found out, got upset, and immediately told Ryan. And that's when things really escalated. Ryan confronted Justin at their penthouse, going off on him, accusing him of fat-shaming Blake. But Blake didn't stop there. She reportedly threatened to walk away from the film entirely unless Justin agreed to do things her way. And if he didn't comply, she made it very clear she would go public with accusations of body shaming and ruin his reputation. At that point, Justin was completely trapped. No way out without risking his career, his film, and everything he had worked for. By now, Blake had completely manipulated Ryan, convincing him to take her side against Justin over something that never even happened. She got Ryan so fired up that he stormed into a confrontation with Justin, demanding answers. And even though Justin had done nothing wrong, he still apologized, trying to defuse the situation. But the tension didn't end there. As the production moved forward, Justin, desperate to keep the peace, continued to work with Blake, praise her in interviews, and try to avoid further drama. But the underlying issues, they were far from resolved. Blake, despite later accusing Justin of assaying her during the first month of filming, was still in regular communication with him. Not only that, she kept requesting to see daily footage from the film's production. And let's be honest, if she truly felt harassed, why would she be so eager to stay involved, review the footage, and actively engage with Justin? Something just isn't adding up. In her text to Justin, Blake didn't sound like someone who felt harassed. In fact, she was praising the clips and asking for more. And here's where things get even stranger. According to her own lawsuit, the alleged harassment had stopped after the production break. Yet, her actions told a different story. "Hey, Justin, not trying to bug you, but that playlist you sent me was good. Just checking in again about possibly seeing the dailies." One of her messages read. She even name-dropped Ryan and Taylor, mentioning how much they loved the clips, a subtle but clear signal that she had powerful allies backing her up. Blake wasn't just watching footage, she wanted full access to review, critique, and influence the film's direction, as if she were co-directing the entire project. That's when things really started to go off the rails. Justin, trying to maintain boundaries and keep the production under control, refused to give her full access to the daily footage. Blake didn't take that well. She immediately went straight to Ryan and her lawyers, complaining again and escalating tensions behind the scenes. And in the end, she came back with a full list of demands, conditions that Justin had to meet if he wanted her to return and finish the film. This wasn't just a small request, this was a calculated power move that put the entire production at risk. By holding up the process, Blake was jeopardizing the jobs of hundreds of crew members and even threatening Justin's career. Even Sony, the studio responsible for distributing the film, was baffled by Blake's sudden demands. It was becoming painfully clear. Blake wasn't just an actress on set. She was pulling the strings behind the scenes, positioning herself as the real power player, while Justin was left scrambling to hold everything together. And now, it's time to break down the leaked footage, the unedited clips that completely contradict Blake's claims in her lawsuit. Because what you're about to see raises serious questions about her allegations that Justin intimately harassed her during filming. In her lawsuit, Blake accused Justin of being inappropriate, claiming he kissed her neck, sniffed her, and told her she smelled good. But when you watch the raw, unedited footage, it's obvious that the entire scene was taken completely out of context.
I know. And my nose is so big.
Yes, I was hoping that we could address this. It's not too late. Just gotta shut down, we gotta call an insurance month and just deal with that.
Yeah.
Before this footage was publicly released, Blake had no idea that the audio was being recorded during the scene. She filed her lawsuit, claiming that Justin harassed her. But the reality? It tells a very different story. Both Justin and Blake were in character the entire time. And here's the kicker. Blake herself had suggested that they speak to each other on camera to make the scene appear more romantic when shown in slow motion. It was all part of the film's creative process, and throughout the scene, they were joking around, improvising naturally, and staying fully in character. There was nothing inappropriate, nothing uncomfortable, and nothing unusual about what happened. Just two actors playing their roles, until one of them decided to rewrite history. In the unedited clip, you can clearly hear them laughing and casually chatting, completely comfortable and playful. They even joke about the script, discussing their characters' dynamics, making it crystal clear that this wasn't some serious or uncomfortable moment. It was just part of their performance. There's absolutely no sign of harassment or inappropriate behavior from Justin. He's simply acting in character, playing the romantic lead as scripted for the film. At one point, you can even hear them talking about their characters' interactions, how the scenes involve slow motion effects and intense staring moments meant to heighten the romantic tension on screen. It was all about bringing the scene to life, not some off-script, uncomfortable interaction. And here's the kicker. Justin even compliments Blake, mentioning how cute her relationship with Ryan is and sharing stories about how romantic he is with his own wife. So, if this was supposed to be evidence of misconduct, the footage tells a completely different story. This is hardly the behavior of someone who is harassing a co-star. Blake, on the other hand, had no issue with the scene at all. In fact, she was the one suggesting changes to make it even more romantic. Then, things take an interesting turn in the footage, showing a slow-motion romantic shot where Justin is seen gently caressing Blake's chin and lip. But here's the key detail. It's all part of the character work. Nothing about the moment is out of line. It's exactly what was scripted and choreographed for the scene. And as soon as the director yells cut, everything immediately stops. There's no lingering, no inappropriate behavior, and no blurred lines. It's a professional scene, executed in a professional manner, with both actors working together to get the best shot. And here's where it gets even more revealing. Blake wasn't just comfortable with the scene, she actually took control of it. She personally requested that additional dialogue be added, making the moment even more romantic in slow motion. Originally, the scene had no talking, just Justin's character being affectionate, but Blake insisted on adding lines to enhance the effect, something that directly contradicts her later claims. Justin agreed to Blake's request, and they filmed both versions of the scene, one with dialogue and one without. But here's what really matters. When the cameras weren't rolling, Justin never crossed any lines. He was always respectful, keeping things professional, and even lightheartedly joking about how cute Blake and Ryan's relationship was. Yet despite all of this, Blake later accused Justin of harassment and body shaming. She didn't stop there. She also manipulated Ryan into believing that Justin was a bad guy, which is insane considering Ryan and Justin had never even worked together before. Blake had completely shaped Ryan's perception, feeding him her version of events and making sure he saw Justin as the villain. And that led to one of the strangest moments in this entire situation. At the end of the film, Blake went out of her way to thank Ryan Reynolds for playing Nice Pool, a character clearly inspired by his Deadpool persona. And this is where things start to get really interesting. Ryan had never worked with Justin before, so why would he base a character on someone he didn't even know? It's obvious. Blake played a major role in shaping how Ryan perceived Justin and how the character of Nice Pool was written. The jokes and subtle digs about Justin's body issues weren't random. They were pointed. In one instance, Ryan's character makes a joke about low bone density and needing to keep his face safe, which just so happens to mirror Justin's real-life back problems. And what's even more telling, this was the same issue that Blake had used to accuse Justin of body-shaming her earlier in production. So let's break this down. Blake's accusations of harassment completely fall apart when you see the full, unedited context of what was actually happening on set. She manipulated the entire situation, turning Ryan and Justin against each other, playing both sides to her advantage. And as for Justin, it's clear that he was nothing but professional throughout the entire filming process. Even when Blake made unreasonable demands, he accommodated her at every turn, trying to keep the production running smoothly. And let's not forget, Justin isn't just some random director. He's widely known for his advocacy for women, his dedication to inclusive storytelling, and his kindness off camera, which makes Blake's accusations even harder to believe. Justin isn't just a random filmmaker, he's someone who has actively championed women throughout his career. He even has a podcast where he regularly speaks about supporting women in both Hollywood and everyday life. So why would Blake suddenly paint him as a creep in her lawsuit? The timing is interesting, especially considering the rumors that Justin already secured the rights to the sequel of It Ends With Us. But if Blake manages to turn things in her favor, there's a real possibility that she could take over and direct the next film herself. This could be part of a much bigger strategy, not just about this film, but about securing full control over the entire franchise. And with her powerful network of allies, including her husband Ryan Reynolds and best friend Taylor Swift, who both back her publicly, she might just pull it off. Then the drama hit another level. Brendan, who plays Atlas in the film, posted on Instagram openly supporting Blake's lawsuit. He was extremely vocal in defending her, which raises a huge question. Why would he choose her side over Justin's? Especially when Justin was the one who helped him land the role in the first place. It's just another piece of this twisted Hollywood puzzle. Justin, on the other hand, has remained adamant that he's been unfairly targeted, especially considering his long-standing commitment to supporting women's causes. He even described a vulnerable moment on set when he was under intense pressure from Sony over the wardrobe controversy. And it was Blake who comforted him during that time. To have that moment of trust and respect later used against him in a lawsuit, it felt like a deep betrayal to Justin, who had always prioritized creating a respectful and collaborative environment on set. So, was this all a carefully orchestrated move to push Justin out of his own project? Or was this just a case of professional tension spiraling out of control? Either way, one thing is clear, this drama is far from over. With legal battles still unfolding, there's plenty more to come. What do you think about all of this? Drop a comment below. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos for more juicy updates just like this one.